raising of capital, land acquisition, construction, development, and sales and marketing, all done in-house. And that allows us to deliver best-in-class service and quality at every step of that process. And speaking of best-in-class service and quality, some of you may know we're the developers that built the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. So that gives you an idea of the scope and the scale that we operate at. And long story short, we deliver through example, execution, and doing what we say we're going to do.
I love that. That's all great points. I love hearing you guys are awesome. So I just want to follow up with you on your pulse of the market. You said people might think you're nuts for launching a project in this market, but so how are you communicating, and what advice could you give to agents that are communicating pre-con today? Where's the positivity? How are you finding that positivity? And I know Ron said finding the opportunity in the tough markets. There's always something, but what is it that you guys are doing from a sales component at Great?
So I'm surprised when we said pre-construction condo, not everybody didn't run out of the room. But the thing is, the truth is, despite what you see in the headlines, the pre-construction market is not dead. It's just shifted. The fundamentals have changed. We've actually gone back to the fundamentals versus speculation, right? And in order for us to sort of communicate that, in order for agents to communicate that, you need to understand the developer, the history, the track record, who you're working with, what we're able to deliver. And also, when you're looking at pre-construction, obviously you want to do a CMA for your clients, you're comparing the subject property, but you want to layer into that a CMA of the developer, right? Your client needs to see the whole picture to make a decision. It's not just about the project. You need to know whether or not the developer can execute what they've done in the past. I think that's something that's very crucial, because what we're seeing now in this current market, the buyers that are out there, they're making important decisions because they're thinking about buying their first home. They're making a transition from one home to another home. These are not the speculators. It's a very personal decision, as Vivian mentioned earlier. It's not transactional, it's very personal. So that said, you need to listen to them and see what they are. See what they want.
You guys, both of you, your companies are launching projects now. And I think that without that being communicated, it doesn't really click in the client's minds. But in a market like this, to be launching projects, to be deploying that amount of capital, to make this happen in a topsy-turvy-ish environment, or at least at surface level, the confidence must be there from your back end. And you're not going to be deploying that kind of capital in a market like this if you're not confident. So you think your clients, when they say, I want to run the numbers, don't you love that? I'm just going to run the numbers. These guys have run the numbers way more sophisticatedly than your clients can. Is that a word? Sophisticatedly? It is now. But they have. So you need to communicate to your clients that just the fact that they're launching projects speaks volumes. So, well done. Vivian, every time I talk to you, every time I walk away from a conversation with you, I'm smiling and I'm excited and I'm motivated. I want to know, what advice do you have? Did everybody hear that bell, or am I going nuts? An angel got his wings. I want to know, how are you communicating positivity and urgency to agents? And what advice do you have for agents to communicate, to create urgency in a very slow market? Because I think we need to implement urgency. We need to try to communicate urgency to our clients. What advice do you have? How do you make me feel excited when I'm done talking? How do you implement urgency in conversation to take action?
I think what it is we have to bring value. We have to be valuable to the client. And what are the client's needs is very important. And the urgency, right now, I believe it's a great market. I know it's a great market. Okay? If people are ready to buy right now, you can cut yourselves the best deals. And that's what's really happening. And this is going to change. It's going to be like this for a little while, but it's going to change. So whoever gets in the market today is going to be the winner. But it's understanding your client's needs, their motivation. What's motivating them? And understanding that and then targeting that motivation. Okay, speaking to them on their level. Not just that you want to make a deal. It's not about just making a deal. It's about understanding their needs. Going back to the builders, we agents look at builders that are solid. We want to make sure you're going to build. We don't want our clients giving deposits and then having problems. We want to make sure that we are dealing with credible people, right? So there's a market there for pre-construction. Yes, we want to make sure that the deposits are feasible and come up with the great terms. But going back to motivating, I'm motivated every day. I walk in my office every day. Why? Because I believe in this market. I've been through many markets before that have been worse in this market. 18, 19% interest rates. Come on, guys. This is a bargain. Okay, it really is. And you're going, yeah, right. It is. Understand it. Understand your client's needs and become value to your client. Okay? Once you become value to your client, the deals will happen. And people will talk about you. And they're going to refer business to you. And that's when you start getting the residual business. And that's who's doing well today. So that's what I would say. I'm motivated every day. I think this is a great opportunity for carving yourself a new value, a new perspective. You know, there were the days where the top producers were the ones that were being recognized, right? Builders, you all love those top producers. We have them in a house as well. Tyler's one of them. But guess what? Here's your opportunity, guys. You now can become recognized too. This is your platform. So now you just have to hit the ground running.
Yeah, amazing. I love that. I think that's a huge, yeah, go ahead. I think my big takeaway from that point is that it's you speak to the value, the agents having the value, and the agents believing it to be able to deliver it. You can't sell something that you don't believe in. So you guys got to put the time in to study the market, learn the market, find the opportunity, so you can speak with that conviction. So you can speak as confidently and positively as Vivian when you speak about the opportunity today. Because if you're on the fence, there's no chance you're going to be able to inspire someone else to take action. So it starts with you. Thank you. Ron, you're a guy that just, you say it how it is, right? Like you always kind of say it how it is. And what I want to ask you is, how do you communicate the hard truths to agents at your brokerage? Because I know for us, a lot of agents, we're nervous of those hard conversations. You got to reduce. We got to go exclusive. We got to change the price. We got to have more open houses. I need to stage your whole house and redesign your whole home. And some of us are nervous about those hard conversations. When agents come to you with those hard questions, or when you have to share those hard truths, you said about the one finger and the three pointing back, how do you do that with grace and elegance without being like
an asshole?
Yeah. My mom's here, so I'm not gonna swear, but you can. But yes.
Look, it's never easy. And having sat in front of sellers, sat in tough negotiations, I've seen people cry. I have seen sellers cry because of certain situations. I've dealt with divorce cases. I've dealt with death cases. I've had tough conversations where someone's going to lose a lot of money on the table, certain risks and investments that they've done that just unfortunately turn the complete opposite on them. So it's not easy. So the first thing is just putting yourself in another person's shoes and knowing that you could have also been there, and having that empathy to know that maybe today you're blessed of not being in that situation or similarity. So if it's a life-changing situation or decision such as a financial loss, a health risk, a death in the family, a separation, the emotions are very different at play. So if it comes to the question is, how would I advise a client, or what would I advise an agent to advise a client, the conversation sort of shifts a little bit. For agents, they themselves are also humans, because other than the fact of title, I mean, we're humans, we also feel, we also hurt, we also cry, we also have pain, and we also go through hardships. There's some of you here in the room today that are from Remax Millennium, and some agents that I meet and I chat with, I've had people pass away. There's a story of an agent, I don't want to make anyone cry, but came to me and says, hey, I'm not doing extremely well. I said, wait, what's going on? He says, my 6-year-old daughter died. I said, and how do you have that conversation with them and then trying to get them back on play? So this is and I'm sure Vivian can relate as well. So this is what happens when we see on the table of working with agents on a one-to-one basis. Now, then you get the other agents. Hey man, I don't know what to do. Hey, market's so slow, I have no leads. Okay, where have you been? Where are you at the trainings? When was the last time I saw you come take a meeting with me on a one-to-one basis? When was the last time you connected with your manager? When was the last time you showed up to anything? Where have you been? So The question is, if you've actually legitimately, something horrible is happening to you, no problem, we're understanding of it. But if it's an excuse of, yeah, just, this market's just slow right now, and yeah, nobody's buying pre-con, nobody's buying real estate, nobody's buying this, nobody's buying that, so what are you doing? So the conversation really becomes hard-hitting, is get your ass up. What do we need to do? What's going to motivate you? What's going to get you going? And I can't motivate anyone if I'm not self-motivated. And what motivates me is having bigger goals. Have bigger goals. Just want more and ask for more things. I tell you that right now. Maybe society or the world or social media tells you it's okay to have more things. It's okay to buy more things. But earning them is very, very important. So having bigger goals, I think, and of course, the question is, how do you have those tough conversations? Being empathetic, being understanding, whether it's with a client, whether it's with an agent. Number two, laying out a plan of action. Here's what needs to happen. If this is, and having specific targeted goals also really works as well. A couple of our agents have sat down with, and we created a 6-month plan or a 12-month plan and said, hey, this is what needs to happen, and here are your daily activities. And I know during our coaching sessions as well, you've also brought up and you've shown a lot of things in our office. So that's what I would say.
I love it. Great answer. Great answer. Thank you. Great answer. Great answer. Great answer. Great answer. My big takeaway is sometimes agents need a kick in the ass. Like you do, right? This is a market that isn't easy to operate in it, but that's what separates the best from the rest, kind of thing, right? This is the market where your hard work ethic now is going to pay off later. So you've got to be self-motivated enough to do that work. But thanks, Ron.
There's a shift. There's a rise in, I want to say end user, is probably a better word for it, but there's a rise in the end user. This is a purchaser that's looking in the long term, looking to buy something to live in, not to flip. And on the investor side, what we're seeing is investors are looking for an asset class for long-term growth and stable income, right? So the days of speculation are gone. The buyers are still out there, so you need to offer the right product to them. And these purchasers are looking for the same thing. They're prioritizing the same type of thing, which is large, livable spaces, boutique buildings, not massive towers with hundreds and hundreds of people. They want to be a nice community, and of course, build their reputation. I think that's becoming bigger and bigger. People walk into our sales office asking about the builder, they're asking about percentages sold, because they're hearing things in the headlines, right? They want to know. So those 2 things are very important. And that's why we, in this market, launched Claystone Condos, right? It's a boutique building, 7 stories, 140 units, right by the water, beautiful community. And it's directly addressing a need. There's a demand for that type of product. And also what we've done too in terms of how we're communicating is, we've changed a little bit where, this should have been the case all along, is today we've taken away the pressure tactics and replaced it with education, right? We now position ourselves as a resource, not just a sales rep. We need to act as a guide for the clients, give them the tools, the resources, the information to make a decision, right? We're no longer the hero. Actually, we never should have been the hero. The client is always the hero. The hero of the story is the client. We are just the trusted advisor. Once upon a time, sorry, Ron, sorry, Tyler, but once upon a time, the platinum agent was the hero. Anybody who got that allocation, they were the hero. Sorry, those days are gone. Those days are gone. Now, it's back to fundamentals, being that trusted advisor, being that resource. Your client is Luke Skywalker, and we're Yoda. We're Yoda. We're here to help them become the hero of their story. Our job is to provide the tools and the information so that they can make a decision. And what makes our products, our projects right now stand apart is because we're able to adapt, because we're able to launch a certain product that fills a certain need, we're coming out with a product that people want right now. And we're offering service and education that they need. Sorry, it sounds like I just quoted Batman, but anyways. But that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, I love that because it's about it. We are more educating now versus just bringing opportunities. There's not enough of an absorption to just jump on opportunities from the market perspective. We have to do more to educate. We have to do more to paint a picture of that value. So, Stefano, yeah, same question. How do you neutralize what's
quiet? In the sense of saying that speculators thought that you could buy a pre-con condo, I'm going to close on it, I'm going to flip it in 6 months, I'm going to make 150 grand, and that's great, that's what I'm going to do. That message has changed now. That message now is instead, you still buy that investment, but you're going to hold it for a period of time. You're going to rent it out, it's going to gain value, it's going to gain wealth. You can use it for different strategies, cash standing like we saw before. That is the message that is starting to change. So we've had success with 2 programs. One that we just we kind of paused for a little bit, but at the same time we're still made available, which was a lease guarantee program. So again, recognizing that we wanted to guarantee a certain lease rate for people once they close, giving them some security in the market. That way that they understand that this isn't something that you're just going to go flip. No, you're going to keep it for a period of time. We'll manage the client, we'll manage everything for you. You're going to get a check at the end of the month, and you're growing your wealth. The other theme that we've also found is this marketplace right now, whether it's US politics, Canadian politics, whatever it is, there's a lot of uncertainty, and that affects the buyer, that affects how we all feel, the sentiment in the market. So going back to one of actually the themes that Tyler brought up earlier was simplicity. So we wanted to come out with simple messaging. So we came out with a Save the GST program at our condo in Rebecca, and it's very simple. It's not, tomorrow, yes, if the government puts in the 5% rebate, yeah, you can get it back, we'll get it back to you. No, we said, we'll give you the 5% now, and if the government comes out with a program tomorrow, or Ontario decides to match it, you will get that rebate as well. You can save up to 10% or maybe more. And we're trying to keep that message very, very simple because there's too much confusion out there. So trying to work with our new different demographic of buyer and trying to keep things simple has really been our strategy for getting people to be encouraged to continue buying in this market.
Awesome, I love that. I think confidence to enable decision making from the clientele, and that's the big thing, simplicity. So you guys are awesome. I'm going to ask you one quick last final question. One last piece of advice for agents today. What can they do? You can take whatever direction you want to stay more motivated, to be more confident, to sell more real estate. But your one piece of guiding advice for this market today. We'll start on this side. Go ahead.
Well, I guess one thing is, number one, know your client and align yourself with a reputable developer like Rosehaven or Greywood, where we have product for a purchaser on every stage of their journey. Whether it's something they need to move in today, we have that. If they need a pre-construction 3, 4, 5 years down the line, we have that. So we can fill that need. But the important thing is know your client, know what they want, and then offer them that value.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I was going to say, to probably find a way to be relatable. Again, a theme that we heard before, I find that that's something that's very important. So for example, again, we'll go back to Tyler and Sabrina. We're selling units to clients that are Rebecca condo, and I related to them very well. They ended up getting a very good deal out of me. They were very good negotiators. But it was relatable because this family came in. It was they had 2 kids. They were young. They were buying their first property, and I remember doing that when I was 21, 22. My father came to me and says, "You're going to buy a condo, and I'll help you along the way, and you're going to start to build your own wealth." And that was something that I could relate with, and it helped me understand their situation and understand what they needed to get that deal through. And we were very happy to see that deal go through. So that's the message I have.
We're going to get the client up here next time. We're going to replace you with the client because they sold.
Everything depends on real estate. So believe in real estate and show up. Just show up like you are today. That's it.
Never be afraid to ask for more. Always ask for the signature. Always ask for more money. Always ask for a better negotiated term. And never ever forget, closed mouths don't get fed. So always ask for more.
You guys are inspirational. You guys are titans. If you have a chance to talk to any of these guys at lunch or whatever, please go introduce yourself. Phenomenal people, incredible leaders. Awesome. Thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
Right. You're asking for more on the walk in here.
need to take the reins and direct, as well as closing the gaps. Okay? So there's something called the GAPS model of customer service. Okay, the GAPS model of customer service. Now, what the GAP is the client experience, or the mental gap, the client's mind. Okay, what are the client's expectations of our service? What do they expect us to do? You know, if you take a minute to think critically, what do they want us to do? Take pictures, yeah, go ahead. Provide the most value by doing what? Take pictures, put a sign on the lawn, put it on social media, answer my phone calls, right? They have a certain anticipation of expectation. And then us as agents, we probably have our own expectation of what it means to be a high value. But what we find when we study is we find that there is an evident gap between the client's perceived level of service and our actual delivered service. So what we need to do is we need to work to close this gap. And to close this customer gap, we do that by closing the provider gaps. You are the provider of a service. You guys are in the service industry. So to close these gaps, number one, we have to close the listening gap. We mentioned it. You heard it on the panel. You've heard me speak about it before. If you're not a good listener, you're not going to be a good communicator. I have to understand what the client really wants and really needs. I talk about my listing presentation sometimes, right? Most of us, we did the features benefit activity. I do drone photography and I do floor plans. I do drone photography because the benefit is to highlight your ravine lot, to show the relevancy and